say the prayer, please. Look at there, he did, but look who we got. So we're good. I was gonna bet on you again, but I couldn't get nobody to take it up. But you made it.
So you're gonna lose your money.
I was. I'd be 2 days in a row.
Be on my ace of spades all the time. You got it. You got it.
I'm glad to see you. Oh Lord. Did he just give us a hint?
Look at this style, baby. Yes, sir. That is
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
just a little heads up. This go round, we do not have video due to technical difficulties.
Okay. So nobody can see us.
I can
But they can hear us. Well, they some up here that they probably don't want to see anyway.
That's correct.
Okay, right on time.
Thank you, sir.
Although Dr. Spires ain't suit and tie, but he's still styling. We was arguing about the same thing. Just the same thing. And neither one of us would give.
How about your counsel?
I asked
The message stuff, man.
I asked Carla, I said, you want to argue? She said, no, but you.
It's funny to me.
You don't miss long.
Well, what's funny to me?
Yeah, that's it. Got everybody.
So I see you made it through last night.
Yes, I did. What do you think of it?
It's interesting.
Yeah, it was.
It was interesting.
It was. Yeah, that's true. Question started, I was saying, well, this big good ass. It was about the underground utilities and all kinds of stuff.
Okay, y'all.
Walking on water.
Are we ready?
Ready?
Let's do it.
We need to, is it on?
I think they're taking care of that on the
Yeah, they're recording under Zoom.
Call to order the July 28th meeting of the Board of County Commissioners. Please stand for the invocation and the pledge.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we gather here today. We're so very thankful for these many blessings thou hast bestowed upon us. We're thankful to thee for this great country that we live in, the opportunity that gives each one of us to live free. We're thankful to thee for the elder brother, our elder brother, Jesus Christ, and the atoning sacrifice. We ask thee now to bless the board as they go throughout this meeting, that they may discuss the matters that would benefit all the individuals of Jackson County. We also ask that thou might pour thy blessing out on us as a people here in our county, our state, and in the world concerning the coronavirus, that we might be able to find a method to either not vaccinate, be able to overcome this illness. We ask for these and the other blessings I see fit to upon us. In the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Ms. Daniels, the agenda.
We have 2 additions under section 1. Under consent agenda, we have a request board approval of right-of-way permit for Spanish Trail Farms, Durham Road. And under section 1, item P, request board approval of task order number 1 from Series Environmental Services for Endeavor debris removal.
Okay,
Chairman, I move approval with the noted changes. Second.
okay, we got a motion by Commissioner Spires, second by Commissioner Hill. All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, like sign, motion carried 4-0. Okay, consent agenda items, has everybody got a chance to look over, and do we have any questions or comments?
Mr. Chairman. Go ahead.
You got a question?
I just want to look at something just a second, please. Okay, all right.
Okay, and this includes the item A on the addition? Is that in there? It's the item A.
Yeah,
section
I don't
one.
know, so it should be on
Okay.
consent. Yeah.
Okay,
So maybe.
okay. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Got a motion by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner Peacock. All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, like sign. Motion carried 4-0. Okay, at this time, we'll have Miss Sandy Martin up to give us an update on COVID-19. Good news only.
Good
Oh,
morning.
well.
Thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak today.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about unverified numbers this morning, and the reason they're unverified is because we have an opportunity from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. to scrub those numbers and move something over if we need to. For instance, sometimes some communities cross county lines, like Graceville, and we might discover that one was attributed to Jackson County, but indeed it's Holmes County. So things like that happen. So this is an unverified number, but I do believe it will be the number for today. It's 1,297 cases for Jackson County. And our rate remains at 14% positive, which is still, of course, higher than we need it to be. It has climbed over the last several weeks. However, we've held at 14 for. Start over?
No, I think, does she need to?
All right, we'll start over. Good morning.
We can hear you fine, but now it's better.
So I have unverified data this morning for Jackson County. And the reason it is unverified is because sometimes when we scrub the data, we discover that a case was assigned to Jackson that indeed belonged in a different county. But I do anticipate the number today will be 1,297 cases in Jackson County. 14% is our positive rate. And our 14% is holding steady over the last week. It did climb pretty steady. We held at 11 for a little while, then it jumped to 14, and we've remained at 14 for another week. We want that number to certainly be under 10. We'd love it to be 0, but we need to aim for at least lowering that number. And we can do that by continuing to wear masks, continuing to social distance. The statewide rate has been between 10.55 and 14.79 for the past 2 weeks, and yesterday it was 11.7. It doesn't do a lot of good to look at daily rates because, for instance, this morning we're doing a testing pod at the health department. I anticipate we'll test about 250. So a daily rate is different from just a rolling average. So it's pretty much 14%. But I have seen in our sites, we've been running at about 14% pretty consistently. Today, we will report 26 deaths. 22 of those are associated with long-term care, 2 in the community, 1 pathways, and 1 in a prison. Over the weekend, we did see a significant jump in cases, and we had an extremely busy working weekend this weekend. And there was some question about the number reported from GEO. So I'd like to explain how that works. GEO does their own testing. They are a privately run prison. They do their own testing and they ship those tests off to the lab, just like what we do. Their lab that they are using was not online with Department of Health. So we did not have electronic reporting. And so when those were small numbers, that was, they give those reports to us and we would manually enter them. Of course, our team is very small, and when they got into big numbers, that became much more difficult to manually enter the data. Now, we did certainly keep up with them and separation from those symptomatic from asymptomatic, and we worked those cases, but we're unable to keep up with the manual entry. That lab has since come online, and you may have noticed that happened this weekend. And so there was a large jump in cases. Those were new to our case count. They were not new to us, and they certainly were not new to GEO, but they were new to our case count, and we worked through that. GEO this morning They send me a line list every day, and this morning they are reporting 611. That's not yet on the DOC website, but they will. What happens with them is the same thing that happens with me. I get the lab report before it goes anywhere else. I know how many positives I have before it goes anywhere. And then, of course, I have to work those positives. They have to get in the database. There's a lot that goes on. And so they do the same thing there. They get their positives. They report it on their website. They give it to me. So it takes a little bit of time. Geo's reporting 611 today. We've only got just over 300 in that Graceville zip code. So I do expect that we'll have another 300 or so positives come in from Geo over the coming days as that lab starts to report them out. Okay.
How many inmates do they have over there?
1,789.
I didn't realize that.
It's about a 35% positive rate, which is not unusual in that kind of population that can't move around very easily. They are certainly talking with us every day and doing what they can to move symptomatic from asymptomatic, and then quarantining those who are positive for COVID-19. Okay, so there's been a change. Here's my good news. So this is the paper that I passed out to you, and I will send it to you via email, or TG can. This is the contact tracing for COVID-19 paperwork. The CDC has changed guidance for quarantine as they do with any infectious disease. Over time, we learn a bit more about it. We learn the disease process, and we usually react pretty strongly in the beginning. And then over time, as we learn more, we relax those criteria. And that's what the CDC has done. So this is a new change. So it used to be that in order to be cleared to go back to work, we would look for 2 negative tests separated by 24 hours. And we discovered pretty early on that people test positive for about 6 weeks. And so, you know, that was a very, very long time, long after they no longer had symptoms. They would continue to test positive. And that is still true. But research has shown that after 10 days of symptoms first beginning, they are no longer infectious. They may indeed test positive, but are no longer a danger to public health. So the new quarantine guidelines are, if you are symptomatic, we go 10 days from your date of first symptom.
Now, are you saying after 10 days, they are no longer shedding the virus?
I'm saying that the virus can be detected on the nasopharyngeal swab, but they are no longer infectious.
Okay.
There are cells that can still be picked up, yes. Okay, but no longer infectious according to the CDC. 10 days after first symptom appeared. If you are asymptomatic, but you are tested positive, of course, we don't have a symptom date to start with. So we start with the date of your swab, 10 days from that date, and you would no longer be under public health monitoring. If you are a contact to someone who is positive, you're a contact to a known positive, you are to quarantine for 14 days from the date of last known contact. If you develop symptoms during that 14-day period, you're going to add 10 days from the date you develop symptoms.
Have they changed the definition of contact?
No, sir. It's within 6 feet, 15 minutes or more. Okay, if you live with someone who has tested positive and you are able to safely stay within a 6-foot distance inside your home, and some people can do that, then you go your 14 days, no symptoms, and then you're no longer under public health monitoring. Some people cannot do that. They live in very close quarters, or their children who sleep in the same room or something such as that. If that's the case, then you wait out the 10 days for that positive person to no longer be under public health monitoring, and then you add 14 days from there. That's all advised by public health officials. When our team calls you, they call every other day and they advise you where you are on your timeline, but that's also on this sheet that I passed out today. Any more questions on that before I move on? All right, numbers in our hospital as of this morning, we have 22 COVID positive patients in-house. 11 of those are on a vent.
Sandy, they have how many ventilators at the hospital?
They had 19 and we ordered an additional 6. So we should be at 25. Mhm. All right, we have a new test site that started yesterday. Florida Department of Emergency Management set up a test site at 4264 Lafayette Street. That's at the Dollar General down by the Wendy's. It's an outdoor site, but it has doors on it. You do go inside for testing. It is not a drive-through. They will be open 7 days a week, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And the swabs they have are a shallow nasal swab that you do yourself under the guidance of a technician there on site. They take that swab, they send it off to a lab, just like I do, and then you'll get your results from them or from the state health office that calls you. That won't come through the health department. However, if you are positive, the same thing happens. That'll come through us. We'll call you, we'll start you on isolation and talk to you about your direct contacts and start that every 48-hour follow-up with you. However, your negative results will come from them. As such, we think that we can meet the demand for testing with that site over there on Lafayette. So we are not going to continue our drive-through testing in the month of August, and we'll see how that goes. If we find that the demand is too much for them, then certainly we'll go back to the testing format. But we're thankful to have another partner in town who can offer testing 7 days a week. That's certainly more than what we're able to offer. And every time we run that drive-through, the entire team is outside doing that. So twice a week, we lose most of the day doing that and not doing contact tracing because it takes the whole team to do that. So we're hopeful they'll meet that demand. Our demand has been about 500 tests a week, give or take. It's usually a little better than 250 per test site. And then, of course, we go out and do specialty, I call it specialty tests. We'll go to businesses, we'll go to different locations. Sometimes it's long-term care. But we go out and do additional testing. We have not stopped testing. We are not going to stop testing. But I'll give you, for instance, this Dollar General site, they are 18 and over, so there may yet be a need for pediatrics, daycares, or something like that. We'll certainly handle that. And we can make sure that everybody who needs a test gets a test. We are just not going to plan for any drive-through test sites for the month of August and watch the demand and see how that goes. We're certainly available. You can still call. You can still expect testing from the health department, and we'll figure that out as we see how much demand we have for that. I think a lot of people might enjoy the self-swab a little better than what we do at the health department. And I'm hopeful that people will take them up on that opportunity. No appointment is necessary. You do walk inside. They do ask that you wear a mask. There is no charge for that test. I don't have information on how long their turnaround time may be at the lab. All labs have the ability to turn around in 48 hours. So I suspect they'll start there, and as those labs ramp up, just like every other lab, it may start to take a little bit longer time. But as of right now, there's not very many people using that site. It just started yesterday. We're working with the school board every day on ways to open schools safely, and they have pushed their time frame off for opening, but we are working with them every day. And I just want to encourage everyone to really maintain that social distance, wear a mask where you can't. We have had instances where relatively healthy people have really been stricken with this virus. And I know that that's not the norm, but we never know which person that's going to be. So I certainly encourage you to continue your social distancing and wear a mask. That's all I have, but I'll take questions.
I got one. I keep getting phone calls saying the hospital gets $3,900 or something, or they get paid more if you test positive or something. Do you know anything about any payments being made for people that are testing positive or anything?
No, sir, I don't know anything about that. What I do know is that ACA will pay for a long-term care resident to stay in the hospital even when it's no longer medically necessary in order to keep from transferring COVID positive patients back to a long-term care facility. It's an effort to control spread. So yes, I do know that ACA will make enhanced payment to the hospital to hold those particular patients, but beyond that, I don't know.
They They get paid more if they test positive. They get paid more if they're on a ventilator.
That's not something I've heard. I don't know.
We hear everything.
Clearly, I don't.
Okay. Any more questions?
Thank you for all your hard work.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Y'all doing
it.
a good
Thank you.
job.
Ms. Sheila has a question. Can I get you to repeat?
Okay, I'm going to repeat the question.
Yeah,
She
go.
said that the Graceville count, you're talking about the 32440? Okay, so the Graceville count and Geo added up over the weekend, and the 300 I'm speaking about now, you're asking at what point will it be added to the 1270? That is correct. She's asking at what point this increase I'm expecting in Geo will show on our 1270 total. And frankly, I don't know. The way the lab reporting works, you know, there's data dumps and there's timelines for that. So, you know, data gets pushed from a certain lab to the state at a certain time. The state runs their reports at a certain time, and I'm not aware of all that timing. So it's possible that it could be delayed before it's told to me. Now, Geo certainly tells me every day. That's how I know. But I expect it in the coming days. I frankly expected a good bit this morning. Did not happen. So I expect it tomorrow. No, ma'am, it's not there now. We gave an active monitoring total over the weekend, and I don't yet have a new number this morning. We have been releasing from public health monitoring a good many since the CDC guidance has changed. And this morning, my team is all out in the parking lot doing testing, so I couldn't ask that question of them this morning. Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Mrs. Martin, you mentioned that there was 22 patients hospitalized. Out of that number, how many did you say from long-term care facilities?
I think she did,
I
but
Dead.
2 long-term, 26 dead.
22 hospitalized, 11
on the ventilators.
Right, I
But
was wondering how many of those were from
Long-term
long-term care
yeah.
facilities.
Okay, I know that there are 22, what you're speaking about, Commissioner Hill, is 22 long-term care deaths. There are 22 COVID patients currently in the hospital. I know of those six of the 11 that are on vent, I know are from long-term care, but I didn't write down that specific number. So I know at least 6. It has generally been about half and half, and it has generally been about half and half on the ventilator and not. But I didn't specifically write down that question. I'm sorry.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
Okay. Any more questions? Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
Thank
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Item C, do we have Mr. Eric Worrell on the phone? Fred, do we have Eric?
I'm looking for him. I don't see his name in here.
Look for Joseph all day.
Okay.
If they're called in via as an attendee, they can use the *9 to raise their hand. Maybe I can find them that way. I don't see them in here.
Good. Thank you, Eric. Okay, next on the agenda is Rhett Daniels.
This is a request for board approval for resolution of pledged revenues to repay JCWS 2019 series debt services. Is there any questions on this item?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, like sign. Motion carried 4-0. Okay, item E would be Mr. Johnson.
This is a request for board approval to implement a lease for tower space southwest sector of for communications. This is what you all discussed recently in the budget meetings. It's $500 per month. An increase of 15% will be added on the 5th anniversary of the lease and each 5 years thereafter. This is not something we currently have in the budget, but I do know it's something y'all have expressed that we need.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Got a motion by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner Peacock. All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, like sign. Motion carried 4-0.
And we will implement that into the budget.
Okay, item F.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Hold on just a second. You're gonna have to.
Round Lake, Compass Lake area.
Probably in your packet. No, I don't know.
Let me see what page.
Deborah, we can get you the address. I don't know it offhand.
Jeff,
Yes.
do you know what the location is? What's the address of the tower?
I can't provide you the physical address. It's at the intersection of Reedy Creek Road and Highway 231. It sits on the west side of that intersection, more or less southwest, down in behind some trees. It's a 300-foot tower.
The agreement refers to the tax.
Oh, we don't have that. Okay. Deborah, is that close enough? Thank you. Okay, thank you, Jill. Okay, next, on the agenda is item F, be Tracy Taylor.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
This is Joey. Can I get, who seconded, item D, the resolution of pledged revenues?
Commissioner Peacock.
Peacock, second.
Thank you, sir.
Joey, are we having problems with, people getting on or what?
We've just got a couple that were unidentified. We should go a little smoother here. Also, I've resent an invite to Mr. Worrell. So you want to loop back around to that item later.
We already took care of
We've
it.
already.
Okay, okay, I got you.
Okay, so Ms. Taylor?
Yes, at the June 9th, 2020 special meeting, the board approved the request for the RFP for the purchase of 5 motor graders. We received 2 proposals with the option to purchase and the option to lease with a buy option at the end of 5 years. Staff recommends leasing the 5 motor graders from Thompson Tractor Company at a cost of $1,089,664.20 for 5 years. The additional cost at the end of the 5 years to purchase would be an additional $623,700 for a total of $1,713,364.20. I'm sorry, $364.20.
Okay.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, we got a motion by Commissioner Peacock,
Second.
second by Commissioner Hill. All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, like sign.
Scotty. Yeah, we do. Scotty Taylor.
I don't know if he's on right now. Is Scotty on? He's not next on the agenda, but Commissioner Peacock's got a question, I guess.
I just want to know when they would be available, delivered to us.
Yeah, I'm running Zoom meeting.
I think he said 90 to 120 days. if I
He's on
remember
here,
right.
right?
That
Yes.
He's on there.
Well,
I think he said
No, he's
something.
not on the full agenda.
He is trying to call and
Okay,
he was having trouble connecting.
okay. Maybe we'll have to ask him that later.
I'll ask him.
Okay, item G, Chief Bruner.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
This is a request from the town of Grand Ridge for volunteer fire department funds in the amount of $7,500 for multiple hose and fire equipment items for their fire truck in Grand Ridge.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, got motion by Commissioner Peacock, second by Commissioner Hill. All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, like sign, motion carried 4-0.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chief. Okay, next would be Mr. Rodney Andreessen.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Request a board approval of renewal of the MOUs with Gulf County and other emergency partners. That'll include the Evangel Worship, RCC Church, Mariana School Board, and the ham operators.
So moved, Chairman.
Second.
Okay, we got motion by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner Spires. All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, like sign, motion carried 4-0.
Okay, sir, also had the annual hazardous materials grant for $3,597. That is not a matching. That is money they give us to do all the site inspections for all the hazardous materials, and we use that money to help purchase equipment for our agencies here and in the EOC to meet the hazardous threat.
Okay,
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
got a motion by Commissioner Peacock, second by Commissioner Spires. All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, like sign, motion carried 4-0. Thank you, Rodney.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Yes, sir. Ms. Christie Andreessen.
Good morning, Commissioners. My first item is a request for approval of a renewal to our advertising agreement with Escape to the Southeast. This is for a inside back cover advertising space and their publication that'll go out January 2021.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, got a motion by Commissioner Peacock, second by Commissioner Spires. All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, like sign, motion carried 4-0. Next item.
The next item is request for board approval on the work authorization number 2 on the Endeavor redevelopment contract. This work authorization is for architectural plans to renovate and improve the gym at Endeavor into a multi-use convention center and the dining hall into a cultural and historical museum.
Okay, we got a motion by Commissioner Hill.
Second.
Got a second by Commissioner Peacock. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, like sign, motion carried 4-0. Okay, item L.
Item L is board approval of an advertising agreement for the 2021 Visit Florida official transportation map. This is a renewal. Again, will be on stands January 2021. It is the Visit Florida Co-op.
Okay, got a motion by Commissioner Spires, second by Commissioner Hill. All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, like sign, motion carried 4-0. Thank you, Christy.
Thank y'all.
Okay, item M, Ms. Tidwell.
This item is to have the board set the proposed millage rate for fiscal year 2021 at last year's millage rate of 7.8484. This would require a notice of tax increase. This rate could be reduced at the September 8th board meeting, but cannot be increased. The rollback millage rate is 7.4450, which is not an increase and would not require a notice of tax increase. This calculation is based on Florida statute 200.005.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner Peacock. Any discussion? I cannot hear you with that mask on. Sorry. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. That's what it was last year. It does show a tax increase, but it's not really. Yes, it would bring in a little more money, but we can.
A little over $600,000.
Yeah.
Over 600,000.
Just a little over, yes. But we got to set it now. We're not through with the budget. we can go down, but we cannot go up. So that's what that is. Okay?
We did vote didn't we?
Okay. All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, like sign, motion carried 4-0. Sorry, I got third off. Okay?
The next item,
Yes, ma'am.
request the board to set the MSTU BU assessment fee to be assessed at Compass Lake in the Hills to be set at $0 from this point forward.
Okay?
We do have some items that were submitted by email that we would like to be read into record. And if the time is appropriate, we'll have to review those.
Okay. What's the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to accept it.
Okay, we have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, we got a second. Now, I guess now would be the time to read that and then open it up if somebody's got any comments. Now, that's that is not assessing any fees.
That's correct, yes, sir,
Or
from this
any-
point forward.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
Joey, you can go ahead.
Our first letter is from Mr. Bart Mormino. To whom it may concern, please discontinue the unfair, unjust, discriminatory MSTU/MSBU fund burdened on the people of Compass Lake in the Hill subdivision. And next one is from Miss Penny Tillotson. I am writing today not just as the chief of the fire department in Compass Lake in the Hills, but also as a resident. I would like to ask that there be a continued assessment for the fire department and the roads, if possible, for our community. I believe that we have some of the better maintained roads in the county and would like to see that continue. The fire department funding is extremely important to help keep insurance rates low and provide extended service for Jackson County. Since there is little money in the county budget for much needed additional county fire departments, this station is vital in helping provide services to those in the southwest corner of Jackson County and the surrounding communities. Losing MSBU funding could potentially close this fire station and place a very heavy burden on already stretched thin neighboring departments. Thank you. Okay, our next one is from Mr. James Cowart. The MSTU/MSBU should be terminated for several reasons. First, the special assessment is not a benefit to all of the property owners and is discriminatory as we are being forced into paying for regular governmental services, road and fire, that everyone else in the county receives for their normal ad valorem taxes. Second, the implementation of the special assessment is not fairly apportioned as these garden lots receive the same so-called benefit as the other lots. These lots do not pay any special assessments whatsoever, and if lightning was to start a fire on their vacant lot, these unfunded parcels become a huge liability for the rest of the community. All properties should have the same assessment or none at all. Third, the boundary map has some intermediate situational problems that affect assessable values of these lots due to a misrepresented section line that the 1974 plat map doesn't clearly determine. One property owner even claims part of a public road, Arches Circle, as their own. There are also additions to the plat map, North Shore, that enlarge the boundary without a public notice or hearing. Finally, the MSTU/MSBU has been subject to having its tax dollars misappropriated into unapproved expenditures and has recently misplaced more than $180,000. It has also allowed certain former county contractors/property owners to have favorable treatment in regards to home-based businesses. See Chapter 74, Planning, Article 4, Land Development Regulations, Division 4, Compass Lake in the Hills, Section 74-370 through Section 74-380. There is more than one business being ran through the POA Lodge, and per the county ordinance, only residents have this right. Please end this MSTU/MSBU as it is a corrupt system which only benefits select property owners. Thank you. Okay, our next one is from Mr. Gregory J. Burns. Dear addressees, I write you this letter to attempt to clarify the apparent mountains of misinformation regarding the subject shown above. I will address the ongoing MSTU/MSBU misinformation campaign first and the delinquent tax issues second. Regarding the MSTU/MSBU revenues, currently used solely for road maintenance and fire protection services, there is no immediate crisis in available funds/funding to provide such services. Nor are the MSTU/MSBU revenue/funds the only source of dependable funding for the volunteer fire department. Indeed, I know firsthand some revenues have been collected for the MSTU/MSBU pursuant to tax certificates issued on various properties, subject to such MSTU/MSBU, because I personally purchased such tax certificates and paid the assessment amount included in such tax certificates. All residents and citizens of this community also need to know and understand the local VFD, regardless of what name it goes by, receives $20,000 a year in funds directly from the county pursuant to an interlocal agreement with the county to provide fire protection services to the community and some surrounding areas. So please do not be fooled into thinking the local VFD is going to die and or wither away to nothing. Additionally, every resident citizen in this community needs to know and understand that in all other areas of the county, road maintenance and fire protection services are provided via the county-wide ad valorem taxation revenues only. That is, you are paying more for the same services others in the county receive via only ad valorem taxation. Your roads are certainly not in all that much better shape than many other roads in Jackson County, nor are your fire protection services that much better than anyone else's in Jackson County. Chief Tillotson posted an article on the VFD Facebook page stating in effect that monies need to begin being collected again. I believe Chief Tillotson is partially correct in this. What has not been stated is that approximately 5,298 county-owned tax certificates issued on various parcels in Jackson County, approximately 4,337 of them are on properties located within the community. That is to say, roughly 79% of all unpaid property taxes in the county are on Compass Lake in the Hills properties. The face value of these certificates, those on CLH properties, is more than $660,000 as of the July 5th, 2020 list, available from the tax collector's website. There is another roughly $392,000 in accumulated interest on these thousands of unpaid property tax bills. I want to point out just a couple of other things regarding these delinquent taxes. So yes, by all means, let's start collecting what is already owed. Please know and understand that the face value includes ad valorem taxes due and the special assessment amount levied for the corresponding tax year. It also includes the cost of issuance of said certificates, roughly between $25 and $40 per certificate per year. Those issuance costs are borne by the taxpayers. In other words, this community, with its gargantuan delinquent property tax issue, has been and is placing a significant financial burden on other citizens of Jackson County. While I have no proof per se that these unpaid property taxes are directly due to the special assessments levied, I do have proof that the delinquent property taxes problem is by far the worst in the community than it is in all other areas of the county combined, i.e. the roughly 79% as indicated above, and as can be verified yourself using the county-owned tax certificates list. I also have proof this community is the only one in the county that has had a special assessment levied on properties in such community. Thus, those that fought to keep the special assessment levy in place, and in fact who wanted it increased to $150 per lot, and a certain not-for-profit organization who purports to act on behalf of the community, should themselves take some type of action to try and get these hundreds of thousands of dollars collected. Let me also remind each and every resident of this community that this organization, known as Compass Lake in the Hills Property Owners Association Incorporated, is not, I repeat, not an HOA. The organization is nothing but a private property owner who owns the community properties, amenities dedicated in perpetuity for the use and enjoyment of lot owners. Indeed, per the declaration of easement referenced as authority for this organization to impose a voluntary membership fee, stated such use and enjoyment was exclusively for lot/property owners. It was not the original intent or promise to make these amenities open to the public. This self-created organization, with its self-given powers, opened up your amenities to the public for its own personal financial gain. My proof of that is in the fact these amenities are, according to this organization, not self-sustaining, even with having been open to the public. In other words, they have apparently been losing money on these operations for decades after taking out their own pay each year, of course. I own just one lot, as was greatly emphasized at a previous POA meeting back in circa 2016. I am adamantly opposed to paying an assessment to benefit primarily you, a resident of this community, with very little benefit to me as the owner of this just one lot. Would and/or do you want to pay an assessment that primarily benefits residents of Cottondale, Graceville, Bascom, Malone, Greenwood? I will tell you that may very well be what you end up doing if a few, in my view, very misguided people keep pushing to have an assessment levied on lots in this community. The Jackson County Board of County Commissioners could at any time with public hearings change the boundary of this MSTU/MSBU to all lands in unincorporated Jackson County, and then levy additional ad valorem millage of up to 10 mills and/or a special assessment in any amount on everyone. How will that make the community look to the rest of Jackson County? Along with the multi-million-dollar lawsuit, which settlement of more than 300, looks like 3 million, but I'm going to go 300,000 was paid to one property owner. As a citizen of Jackson County and the owner of just one lot located in this community, I tell you in no uncertain terms, if these keep pushing to continue levying taxes, which an assessment is purportedly not a tax, but is the equivalent of a tax, I will go to my grave to accommodate them and you, and seek to have taxes and special assessments maximized on everyone, and thereby letting the county take full and complete control of all fire protection services. They can tax and assess all lands in unincorporated Jackson County and begin building out and outfitting county fire stations throughout the county, beginning in the northwest and working east, then go south and back west again, and again work east, and repeat that until they finally, 5 to 10 years later, make their way to Compass Lake in the Hills. For those who would immediately ask, why should we be last? I will tell you why. Because the taxpayers of and in Jackson County paid the POA more than $300,000 in 2017, and apparently not one dime of that money went to the CLHVFD. That is one good reason why. In closing, I encourage each resident of this community to contact the POA, preferably in writing for documentation purposes, and demand they, at a minimum, start providing financial assistance to the county to attempt to begin collecting these hundreds of thousands of dollars in delinquent taxes and assessments owed. Some of these monies are in fact owed to the local school district, and indeed such monies might in fact help keep your local VFD operational without burdening everyone else. Respectfully, Gregory J. Burns. Okay, next we have from Mr. Greg Oler. Please remove any special assessments on the property ownership, Compass Lake in the Hills. Please treat us as other Jackson County citizens. We should not have to pay additional assessments to get the services afforded other Jackson County citizens. Please get rid of all discriminatory taxes levied on Compass Lake in the Hills property owners. Please place in the budget meeting records. Okay, next is Mr. Charles Schlesinger. Commissioners, I am asking for the dissolution of the MSTU/MSBU in Compass Lake in the Hills subdivision. It is unfair that additional taxes be put on the property owners of this community. Perhaps this is the reason that most of the unpaid taxes in the county are by the owners of CLH. How would you feel about additional taxation on your own property, especially when there are no improvements or properly maintained services? I ask each of you to consider this question. What do we have to show for the nearly $30 million collected since the mid-'80s? I see no improvements. Actually, since the county has taken over road maintenance from Compass Lake in the Hills Property Owners Association Incorporated, a private company, the condition of the roads are great. Road maintenance has proven not to be a burden on the county. I suggest you take some of the remaining funds and construct a volunteer fire department building on one of the county-owned buildable lots. This would cost the county absolutely nothing and would eliminate the burden of paying rent to the Compass Lake POA for a dilapidated, hurricane-damaged firehouse. You already have an interlocal agreement with the VFD, so it isn't like you need to start anew. To continue taxing the property owners of Compass Lake in the Hills is unfair and is discriminatory against the owners in this location. Again, I ask that you terminate any future taxation to the residents of the CLH subdivision. Thank you. Okay, lastly is a letter from John and Victoria Brown. We are requesting that the MSTU/MSBU in Compass Lake in the Hills subdivision be dissolved. We do not, nor have we ever used this facility, and do not think we should have to pay any fees to them. Since we have lived here, they have not made any improvements to the community. The volunteer fire department building has not been repaired since Hurricane Michael. I hope you will consider this request in your meeting. And that's all I have.
Okay, can we open it up for, any questions, comments to the public on this issue?
All right. If any members of the public would like to speak, please use *9 on your phone if you are dialed in, or if you are joined via computer or mobile device, use the raise hand feature. At this point, I see no hands raised.
Okay. Anybody here have any questions or comments? Okay, Commissioner Hill.
Yeah, I'd just like to make a short statement, in reference to the MSTU money, now that it's, now dissolved, the money will remain in the county's coffers under the guidance of the board and the clerk of the court, but it will be used strictly for roads and fire, and we plan 100% to keep the fire department going for hopefully many more years, and then continue those services available. So again, if you have any problems with your road, just follow normal procedures and call our road department. You can call, during business hours to the road and bridge and just make the request, and we'll go from there. But the fire department is staying.
Okay, any more comments before we vote? Have we? No, we haven't either. That's why. Public comment and all before we vote. No, y'all did.
Oh, we did.
Yeah. Okay, at this point, we'll go ahead and vote. All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, like sign. Motion carried 4-0. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
the vote was to not levy additional fees.
right.
What about the dissolution of the organization?
I don't know.
Do we have the ability to solve that?
That's gonna be a Michelle question.
Can you?
Do you mean the MSTU?
Yes.
I think it's the board, but I think that should be done at a public hearing, was my understanding, if you were going to dissolve the MSTU. But Michelle should be on the line.
She had to leave at 9:44, so, 9:45.
We may
can
want
find out.
to find out and then bring that back to the board.
Right. That's a good point. I don't know which one. Lord have mercy. Carry on.
I'm texting her, I'll tell you when she answers.
Okay, Willanne Daniels on item O.
This is a request for board consideration of a change order to the handicap parking addition at community development. Originally, you all authorized the construction of one handicap space. However, since then, it's come to our attention that we have potentially an employee that would need to utilize the handicap space, therefore leaving no handicap space for the public, which was the original intention behind constructing that space. So I'm asking for board consideration to increase it for a second space for an additional $2,396 to construct a second handicap space at community development.
So move, Michelle.
I got a question.
I need a second first. I got a motion.
I'll second it for discussion.
Okay, go ahead.
We're gonna spend $2,396. What are we getting for that?
An additional handicap space.
Okay.
Well, are they pouring asphalt or are they just painting?
This would actually be cutting into the sidewalk, was my understanding, and they're having to cut the space for the handicap, for the wheelchair to be able to go up onto the sidewalk.
I thought we'd already done that.
Well, we did pay money for additional one.
Well, you haven't paid anything yet, because they haven't constructed anything yet. But this is to do a change order to add a second when they go out to do the original
You
work.
got two spaces, when do you need two divots in the sidewalk? Do you think we're gonna have two wheelchairs there at one time?
I would have to get James to speak to the details of how
Well, if
they're
you're gonna have
constructing.
employees that's gonna be parking there all the time, and that was occupied.
Yeah, but all you
No,
do
no.
is put a sign
I'm not
up, they
talking-
can come
I'm
around
talking
and go
about
up the ramp.
Go
All of
in
them don't have
the
ramps.
she's saying the access, they're gonna cut the sidewalk.
Oh, I see what you're saying now.
I
Two
mean,
access
you
points on
shouldn't
the-
block that.
I can have James speak to the details of it, but the original construction required a change order to be able to add a second space. but exactly what they're doing, I would have to get him to speak to
Well,
that.
for
They
a
haven't
paint
started
job,
on
that's
any-
$2,000 high.
Yeah, but they're not, they're cutting into the, oh,
Y'all can just
They haven't
hold
started
that one, and
nothing?
I'll see if we can get James on the line before the end of the
Right.
agenda.
let's, on the line before we get through.
Mhm.
Okay, so we don't need a table right now.
We'll just come back to it.
Okay, item P, Scotty Taylor. Has Scotty been able to get on?
He told me he's on.
Okay.
I can do it though. It's a request for board approval of task order number 1 from Series Environmental Services for the water debris removal.
He's on. She just read it for you, but
So move, Mr. Chairman.
we got a motion by Commissioner Peacock, second by Commissioner Hill. Any questions? All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, like sign, motion carried, 4-0. Okay. We'll go into, public hearing, section. And the first item, Miss Wendy. Well, let's go into public hearing.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
The public hearing is for a revision to the Jackson County Code. This is to require a general development order for any disaster debris management site. And the title reads as follows: An ordinance of the Board of County Commissioners of Jackson County, Florida, amending Chapter 74, Article 4, Jackson County Code of Ordinances to provide for the requirement to obtain a general development order for any disaster debris management site to be located within Jackson County, providing for the terms of issuance of such general development order, vesting authority for approval of such general development order in the county administrator, providing for the payment of royalties in accordance with Section 74-95 of the Jackson County Code of Ordinances, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. The previous action was on July 14, 2020, where we requested to set a public hearing for today. And we are requesting that you go ahead with the public hearing. Thank you.
Okay, do we have anyone online or here to speak for or against this amended ordinance?
Just a reminder, use *9 to raise your hand, or the raise hand feature on mobile or the computer. I see no hands raised online.
Okay, we'll go out of public hearing. What's the pleasure of the board?
So moved, Mr.
Second.
Got a motion by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner Peacock. All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, like sign. Motion carried, 4-0. At this time, we'll go back into public hearing. Miss Wendy, item B.
Yes, sir. This is a public hearing for the request of an amendment to a development agreement and site plan for Tim Shell Development Group, also known as Tranquility at Hope School. The applicant is reducing the parking lot by 5 parking spaces due to the reduction of apartments from 32 to 30. They're adding a crosswalk striping within the parking lot to depict ADA accessibility from building to building and to the amenities. They're adding 121 linear feet of sidewalk from the clubhouse to the Hope School Road right-of-way, adding 67 linear feet of sidewalk connections on the west side of both buildings to connect sidewalks in front of the parking lots together to provide connectivity throughout the site on the sidewalks. The impervious area added is 190 square feet for a total of 100,294 square feet of impervious. The project will be located on the south side of Hope School Road, approximately 1,033 feet west of Highway 71 South and 1,354 feet south of Magnolia Road in unincorporated Jackson County. The previous action was on July 14th, where we requested to set a public hearing for the amendment. And then on December 10th, 2019, the development agreement for Tim Shell Development Group, LLC, was approved by the board. Thank you.
Okay. Is there anyone online or here that would like to speak for or against this item?
All right, I've got a hand up from Brian Waterfield.
Go ahead.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
This is Brian Waterfield with Tim Shell Development Group. I just wanted to thank you for the opportunity to be on the agenda this morning and let you know that I'm available to answer any questions.
Okay.
All right, the next caller is Mary Margaret Ferris.
Go ahead.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
I'm here if I have any questions about the modification that we're requesting as well.
Okay.
I see no other hands raised online at this moment.
Okay. We'll go out of public hearing. What's the pleasure of the board?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Got a motion by Commissioner Peacock, a second by Commissioner Spires. All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, like sign. Motion carried 4-0. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Okay, Miss Wendy, we'll go into the community development part, and you're up with item A.
Yes, sir. We have a request for board approval of a SHIP mortgage subordination to the third position. A former SHIP participant in Marietta applied for a home loan for repairs. A line of credit was established in the amount of $28,300. The original SHIP mortgage was for $10,000 and takes a second position, which is subordinate to the first mortgage. The lender advised that the loan is available only if they are able to take the second position. The homeowner is requesting for the SHIP mortgage to take the third position so that he may make the loan for home repairs and improvements. On June 24th, 2020, the home was appraised for $158,000, and the initial purchase price was for $105,000 on July 6, 2018. Now, the homeowners did advise me that their master bathroom had leaks and they had to break up the slab and pull the tub and the sinks out of that bathroom. They're a family of 10 and they're down to one bathroom at this point. They're going to make some additional improvements to the home. So the motion is to request to approve a SHIP mortgage subordination to the third position. Thank you.
What did we do with, did we do something with this the last time?
It was deleted. Or it was moved to the next agenda.
I remember seeing it.
Oh, okay. Okay. What's the pleasure of the board?
So move the chair.
Okay. Got a motion by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner Spires. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carried 4-0. Okay.
Thank you.
Miss Wendy.
Yes, sir. The next item is to request board approval of Coronavirus Relief Fund for sub-recipient agreement. The state of Florida has been awarded funds under the CARES Act. A portion of these funds will be distributed by the Florida Housing Finance Corporation to eligible governments to be expended for the purpose of assisting citizens who are experiencing housing difficulties associated with COVID-19. assistance categories can include payment and buy downs, rental payment assistance, mortgage payments, foreclosure or eviction prevention, homeownership counseling, and housing reentry assistance. Upon signing this agreement, the Florida Housing Finance Corporation will distribute funds to our county, requesting a motion to approve this agreement with permission for the chairman to sign.
Okay, we got a motion by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner Peacock. We do have a question now.
Wendy, how many requests have we had for these funds?
Well, no official request to date because nothing's available at this point.
Okay.
Okay? I guess we're preparing for that as a part. Okay? Any more questions? Got a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, like sign. Motion carried 4-0. Next item, Ms. Wendy.
Okay. We have a request for board approval of Jackson County, the Coronavirus Relief Fund for a contract with Emerald Coast Regional Council. This contract will enable Emerald Coast Regional Council to administer the funds received by the Florida Housing Finance Corporation on behalf of Jackson County. The contract period will run from March 1st until March 31st, 2021. We did have initially December 30th. However, we did realize that the agreement needs to extend to March 31st because of the reporting that would have to be done for the expenditure of the funds. We're asking for a motion to approve the request with permission for the chairman to sign.
Got a motion by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner Peacock. All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, like sign. Motion carried 4-0. Okay, Ms. Wendy.
Thank you. The next request is for board approval of a variance to the Jackson County Code of Ordinances, Section 70-57, prohibition for Silver Lake. A request from Justin Stone of Stone's Aquatic Weed and Algae Removal, LLC, was submitted for a variance to the Jackson County Code of Ordinances, Section 70-57, prohibition, to allow a 26 horsepower Kubota diesel engine workboat in Silver Lake to help clean up the lake by removing weeds and vegetation, as well as trash and other debris. The previous action was the item was tabled for further information at the July 14th, 2020 meeting. We have a motion to request approval of the variance to Section 70-57 of the Jackson County Code of Ordinances to allow the 26 horsepower Kubota diesel engine boat in Silver Lake to help clean up the lake.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve this subject to the fact that make sure that Silver Lake's residents are all familiar with it, but not to allow, let it come to a public hearing, but we'll go.
Okay. I'm not sure exactly.
Well, I understand they don't want to have any type of powered boat inside that.
Even to clean it up?
Even to clean it up.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
have we talked to the Lake Association down there? I've talked to one person, and they vehemently oppose this. I think before we do anything on this, we need some guidance from the association.
I'll rescind my thing.
We didn't get a second. I need to go that far.
Can you reach out?
Yeah, I will. I'll talk to her, and the other ones and see if they can get their group together.
If it's the association requesting it, that's a different story. But if this is just an individual.
Wendy, do we know who initiated this process?
Yes, Commissioners. I spoke to Mr. Stone, and he had several residents contact him regarding the different types of weeds that are taking over in the lake right by their shoreline. They have concerns for snakes and alligators and things like that. So it was some of the residents. And Mr. Stone did do some cold calls in the neighborhood. Some were agreeable, some were not. He may be on the line if you want to ask him some questions. But he did tell me that the oils that are used for the hydraulics in his boat are like vegetable oils and biodegradables, so that they don't impact and cause any type of environmental issues.
All right, who's paying for this? Where's the funding source coming from for that? Is it the one individual or a group of them?
A group.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion, we table this until we get more definitive guidance from the Lake Association.
Second.
Okay, who's gonna contact them? Are we gonna mess around and go to the next meeting and nobody done it and we table it again? That's what's just happening.
I'll contact them. What was the lady's name again? They contacted you?
Elaine Thompson.
Well, staff can reach out and ask for something in writing
Can we
or.
do a public hearing where we can hear from them?
Yeah,
Or
that's kind of what I was.
is that,
Well,
normal?
it doesn't have to be a public hearing, but we could put word out that it'll be on the agenda.
okay, I'd just rather do that.
Just give them a chance.
Well, that's the reason my original motion was to see if they went, by that date of August 11th, then we could actually give them the chance to come here and publicly speak. Obviously by phone, I guess would be the proper term, but either way, we'll make them know.
Okay, well, we got a motion and a second to table. All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, like sign. Motion carried 4-0.
You still have her contact information, please?
Do you know when that they were planning on starting? I don't know.
I have no idea.
Okay?
We'll have that back at the August 11th meeting.
Okay. Okay, Miss Wendy, item E.
Yes, sir. We're requesting to set a public hearing to amend a development agreement and site plan for Mill Springs General Store. The applicant is adding an additional 520 square feet to the footprint of the building, 2 additional parking spaces, and increasing the width of the sidewalk along the front of the building, 442 square feet. The total impervious added is 1,525 square feet for a total of 105,700 square feet of impervious. Previous action on January 28, 2020, the board approved a development agreement for Ashley Johnson doing business as Mill Springs General Store. We're requesting approval to set a public hearing for the next board meeting scheduled for August 11th, 2020 at 9:15 a.m.
Okay, we got a motion to set a public hearing at the next board meeting by Commissioner Peacock, second by Commissioner Hill. All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, like sign. Motion carried 4-0. Okay, this is a public hearing on the next one too. Okay.
It's a request to set a public hearing.
Yes, ma'am.
Sure.
Okay, we got a motion by Commissioner Hill,
I'll second it for discussion.
second by Commissioner Peacock. Yes, sir.
Ms. Wendy?
Yes, sir.
You look on page 2 of this, and it says, violation of codes and ordinance shall carry a fine as provided from time to time by resolution of the board. When is the time?
I'm sorry, Commissioner, I'm not seeing what you're asking here.
Page 182.
Who's the third? Second.
I don't have a book. I don't have the book you have.
It's like you got a personal problem. I tell you what, I'll get with her on this later because there are a couple things I think we need to change.
Okay. We got a motion and a second.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
We got a motion and a second to set a public hearing for the August 11th meeting at 9:15. Is that correct? Yeah. What's the pleasure of the board? All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, not. Motion carried, 4-0.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you, Miss Wendy. Okay, Miss Apostle Johnson.
Good morning.
Good morning.
God, Yahweh, sent before the county commission requesting free counsel for the public on a volunteer basis. Granted, you give me space to use once, twice, or 3 times a week.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Hill.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the location predetermined by our county administrator and staff and the board at the public library here in James County for your office and space to use once, twice, or 3 times a week.
Well, I don't know that it goes to once, twice, or 3 times, but anyway, we do have a facility that there's rules to it, of course, but we have a motion. So I hear a second. Got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yes. This does not excuse you from coming to our meetings.
That's right.
You've been
Is that a
doing it too
deal?
long.
Is that a deal?
It's a deal.
Yeah.
She told me earlier we can go out there and see her walking around the street. We thank you for 13 years, almost. You told me
Yeah. almost
briefly 13 years of doing this, and I guess to say it religiously, many crowns are due to you. Dealing with the board.
Commissioner Spires?
Or does the immediate carrier liability?
Right, they have to have, you want to,
They have to have she would have to provide liability insurance, according to Michelle, which I believe Apostle Johnson has for pastoral counseling.
Anyone using the facility.
Right,
Has the liability.
Yeah.
I think we discussed this the other day, Mr. Spires, when you were not here, during budget.
Nor there aren't any endorsements of any sort by this board either, right?
no, this is open.
To anyone.
What did you say? I'm sorry.
There
Couldn't
aren't any
understand.
endorsements
Endorsement.
by this board for what Apostle Johnson will be doing.
No, it's open.
You're right, it's for,
Open to anyone.
Please.
the board voted to create a policy for anyone that meets certain criteria to utilize the space, starting out once a week, and we'll see how it goes.
Okay, so any other person
Yes.
requesting the same would be given the same privilege.
Yes, sir.
Yes, we passed the ordinance. Yes. Okay, any more questions? Can't hear you. No, we can't.
Yeah, absolutely, that's
I think you need to get
All
all
of
the
us.
pictures with Apostle Johnson.
I'll
No,
stay.
not really. Yeah, no, but.
Thank y'all very much.
Yes, ma'am. Well, did we vote?
No, we didn't.
All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, like sign. Motion carried 4-0. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay.
Can I just apologize, Dr. Spires, I lost sight of the fact you weren't here when we set the policy. I should have briefed you on it.
Okay, thank you.
Who's on the agenda? When are we gonna get? We're through with the agenda.
Right, we'll just finish this out, and then you'll go into your special meeting.
Okay.
Maybe a little break and go.
Amen.
Yeah, James is supposed to be coming up here. Let me see where he is.
Willie, what was the amount of limitation on that insurance bond we require or insurance? You remember the liability insurance?
On what now? I'm sorry.
On the meetings at the public library, what kind of insurance was required?
Liability insurance, and so it's either mental health, I mean, as you know, mental health liability insurance, or pastoral counseling also can get liability insurance, which is what she happens to have. So you'd have to have liability insurance to be able to utilize the space for counseling.
And the limit of liability is, what's required, the limit?
Michelle, I believe, recommended $1 million. I'll have to verify that.
Okay. Can't hear you.
Only certain classes of counseling can get liability insurance, pastoral counseling being one of them, mental health counseling, but you would have to, for a mental health counselor, for instance, you would have to have a license in the state of Florida, for Florida. But pastoral counseling, you can get from being an ordained minister, which is, in this case, and I want to be clear, the board is not a set a policy for Apostle Johnson. They set a policy for anyone that meets that criteria. She just happens to, my understanding, meet it.
Can you get with her on that later?
She's got pastoral counseling. She is an ordained minister, so she's able to get liability insurance for pastoral counseling.
Good. Okay.
So if y'all
We got a
want
round
to
table,
table the handicap space, James will be up here in about 10 minutes. We can do that at the special meeting.
Let's go ahead and do the round table.
Okay.
Okay. And Michelle, you're not on the line, are you?
She's not.
I don't think so. So Ms. Willand, do you have anything?
Yes, we will need you all to set a public hearing for the August 11th meeting at 9:15 a.m. if you'd like to consider the disillusionment of the MSTU.
Okay. Let's close the board.
So move, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, got a motion? Do I hear a second? Second. Got a motion by Commissioner Peacock, second by Commissioner Spires. All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, like sign, motion carried 4-0. Okay.
And just to update, I told you 6 weeks on the motor graders. It's 5 to 6 months. But and Scotty may still be on the line. He said that the gentleman is trying to do it. Said it could be quicker than that, but y'all asked about the timeline. Scotty, if you want to speak to that.
Yeah, like I said, I misheard when he told me what it was, but I've been having phone problems. But we're going. The quicker we get the paperwork to him, the quicker it'll happen. But like I said, there's due to, I guess, COVID and all that. There's not 5 available, right? Like to go get just like they did with the dozer, but they're going to try to get them as quick as possible.
Scotty, do they have any? Can we get any of them?
We got somebody in the audience.
He's on. See if Joey can unmute him.
No.
Oh, he's here. He's here, muted here.
Come on up.
Oh, he's in there. Okay.
Take your name for the
I'm Mike Sands, Thompson Tractor Company. Thank you, Commissioner for having us. Given the different configurations, the configuration that was requested would be a special order from the factory. If we were looking at a different configuration, we'd just look at inventory on the ground. We could potentially have something. It's just a matter of figuring out what we've got.
What configuration is special?
Six-wheel drive.
Six-wheel assist? Well, what about the 3 that do not have it?
The steering wheel actually is part of the, I wouldn't say problem, but the challenge we've got to overcome. Joysticks have become the way of the world as far as motor graders go now. Requesting a steering wheel configuration is a little bit less common nowadays, so they're built to order.
How many did we order that had steering wheel? The 6-wheel drive?
It was part of steering wheel was requested, so we tried to accommodate. So that's part of it. I mean, it can be it can be removed. I mean, it's not a requirement. I mean,
I got a question. What's the difference in time? Of course, it's your decision, but how much time difference if it joystick versus steering wheel?
I don't know that information offhand. I can go back and find out.
Get with Commissioner Peacock on that.
Yeah.
Well, just cause they like one thing, I mean,
it's about the same.
I almost said that, didn't I? What are they running now? Are they all running joysticks?
Yes. No, we got steering wheels out here now.
I mean, all of them?
6.
Not the least ones. Not the least ones.
Not the least ones. No, the John Deere's are steering wheels.
What's gonna happen when you can't get a steering wheel anymore?
That's you're gonna be without. I mean, even with the steering wheel, you still got joysticks in there.
No, I guess won't be a motor grader.
I definitely check on a delay. I mean,
Like I
how?
said, I'll get a,
Ours, the
see what
joystick.
time difference is.
Aren't they all being ordered as?
They're all steering wheels per the bid request.
And who
Wait,
requested
wait,
that?
no, I have not. Scotty, did you want steering wheels mine? Because I understand the guys in my
Well,
district.
they to not complicate things, we had them quote them all, the same. It because we other than the 6-wheel drive, to try not to get into 15 different things.
Yeah, but they're already the one. Most of them are already using joysticks with sides.
Right, and like I said, if it's what I was trying to accommodate, I mean, if it's up to me, we should move forward with what the industry's going to and go away from steering wheels.
Well, for my district, I don't know what the numeric value is on mine, but I want joysticks in mine. So,
Scotty,
All right, yes.
let me talk to the operators and I'll get back to you.
Yes, sir.
And District 1, I think I've said before, I specifically do not want joysticks.
I think for Commissioner Peacock, it's gonna take longer to get your drive assist.
That's right.
So.
Scotty, I got a big question. Who's
Yes.
decided where these road graders are going? What district are they going? Everybody's saying my district, this district, and
My
that.
district.
I've been going through. I started on Friday and trying to work out how we're gonna sort them out, and I will get back to you on that. But like I said, with some of every motor grader needs to be grading the same number of miles, so I'm trying to more or less try to box it out, kind of like I did kind of with the mowing, to make sure that they're all grading the same number of miles instead of somebody grading 80 and somebody grading 150. So,
But we're up here talking about my district, get this and get that. We're only getting 6.
I mean, I need to be able to use everything to see how we can take care of the whole county.
Your question, Mr. Chairman, I think that was decided when Commissioner Peacock requested 6-wheel drive. That's my district. That's his district.
I know, but what I'm saying is,
Who decided it?
I hadn't said anything about my district.
Well, Commissioner Peacock specified, I have specified. So that's where my district came from. Yeah, any question?
we don't know.
So when we request, we get it. What I'm saying is we're replacing motor graders that are wore out. Well, I didn't
Wore
mean-
out, and they were 6-wheel drive, so we requested to replace 2 of those with 6-wheel drive.
I was just saying, okay. I think you got my point. Okay, good deal. So, we got.
You'll
the
get
guy
back
here.
with Scotty
Excellent.
on the difference,
Joysticks.
joysticks versus steering wheel.
Correct.
The 6-wheel drive is going to take extra time anyway.
Correct.
So
I would say this, as far as 6-wheel drive motor graders, as far as the whole Southeast, Alabama, Panhandle, Florida, there are no counties running all-wheel drive cat motor graders. Part of the motor grader itself is when you look at horsepower, weight, the balance of the machine, John Deere machines typically would require all-wheel drive to get certain jobs done. There are no cat motor graders running in this area with all-wheel drive. It's just not necessary. The only place you would see these cats is running up north, all-wheel drive machines with big snow plows on the front of the machine. But as far as Thompson Tractor is concerned, Caterpillar, we're not seeing all-wheel drive cats in this area. The same tandem machine is getting the job done, whereas an all-wheel drive John Deere would.
Well, the problem we got is they get stuck.
Commissioner Spires?
Yes, so what's the cost differential between a 6-wheel drive and the others? I believe it's in the package. I don't remember
It was
offhand.
about 5,000 a month difference.
Yeah.
6,000 a year, I think.
5,000 a month. It was
A year.
A year, 5,000 a year.
Year per
Oh,
person.
yeah.
I was
Yes.
shocked at a little bit of difference. When we discussed it the other day, it seemed like it was sub $500 a month.
Yeah, it's the cost difference isn't huge. It's just the lead time.
Even in Alabama, where you've got, a lot more hard pack material, chert rock, things like that, they're still not running all-wheel drives. It's just not common in our area.
But
Given
our
the balance.
problem is soft dirt.
Okay.
I've seen one, the whole front end was buried above the wheels.
Understood.
You can't, and we do get wet times. And then when you're trying to do work that you have to do, I mean, you'll sink it.
Okay.
And that's why my area, we do have quite a bit of wet area.
Understood.
And that's the reason I want it.
Excellent.
Okay. Any more questions?
But if we drop the steering wheel, it's still going to be,
Sounds like we got issues on
it'll be a while.
getting all of them, right?
It's not gonna make any difference in steering wheel and the six-wheel drive. I want the six-wheel drive.
If they're built to order, it shouldn't make any sort of difference.
Okay.
It's just a matter of inventory on the ground.
Gotcha.
So it's not
So
just.
you might be able to
six-wheel
get 3 of them fairly quickly.
What?
It depends on what we have sitting on the ground and what configuration those machines have.
Okay. Okay, thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Just let Scotty know.
Me and him's gonna get together this afternoon.
Thanks, Scotty.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that was the answer a question earlier, right? Yes. So, we'll go on to, well, we got, let's
James,
go ahead and finish our round table. Well, we don't, you got, Ms.
Are you
Williams, do you have
I'm
anything else?
finished.
Okay, do you have anything?
No, sir.
Okay, do you have anything?
No, sir.
Commissioner
No,
Slavis?
sir. No, sir.
Sheriff's Department? And I have nothing. Whoops, I'm sorry.
Sorry, it's been a while.
You're not off.
I know, I'm sorry.
I'm in receipt of an invoice for Whitaker Company in the amount of $106,184. This is for Howell Boat Landing. They have completed that project. I've asked Rhett to get me a certificate of final completion. I'm asking you to approve the final payment once that document is.
So move, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Got a motion by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner Peacock. All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, like sign, motion carried 4-0. Anything else, Ms. Daniel?
Yeah, that's all I have.
And I don't have anything, so at this time, we need to, our question was about the handicap parking spot in. They were
I'll
asked-
ask it again.
State your
Make sure
name
you
for the record.
I'm Rex Wimberly with M&W Construction Company.
The question was an additional parking space, a handicap parking space out there, and it's gonna cost $2,000.
$2,900.
Oh, I'm sorry, $3,000.
$3,396.
Can't we just use a parking spot out there and designate it handicap? You don't have to have a ramp for every handicap parking spot.
David Melvin, engineering, did a handicap parking spot that meets code.
One,
right.
okay.
After we submitted the bid, Pam Bouchard asked us if we would add 2 more. If there was a request, I'm just, okay?
Can't you just designate another one for handicap? You don't have to have a ramp for every handicap. I mean, I've
No, sir.
designed them for 20 years.
And I don't know if y'all seen this drawing that I did.
We might have
But
way back.
The issue that comes in is when that facility was built, all the handicap parking spaces, because none of those side doors were created for handicap access, okay?
Right.
And so all the parking, handicap parking is over on what I call the east side toward the K-8 school. Well, now that building department and all that's out there, you have people, the way I understand it, are trying to come in those north and south doors. They're not handicap accessible.
But we already did one and y'all.
Well, we haven't done
Well,
one
but
yet,
you're supposed to
but
make it where
yes.
they can get, okay.
All right. But when we were asked, and again, we only provide what we're asked, so.
Right, I understand.
um,
The drawing.
You have an existing parking lot that has an under parking drainage system. So from where we're taking out that existing curve back to I call it the east towards 71, all that paving is falling off to run the water to that storm drain that is right behind this third parking space. And so, I just brought up, why did you need 3? And so then Pam came back and asked me if we could do 2. The first parking space on the existing asphalt will come close to meeting the code because it's the highest point. What we were going to do is, the code says that you have one exit access. The access has to take you to a ramp that takes you to access into the building. All right. They showed 2. They're 5 foot wide. What we were going to do is, where we're taking the curve out and pouring new concrete up to the existing asphalt, we were going to widen that access by 2 foot so that it could be used by that existing asphalt paving. And so all we were going to have to do was paint the handicap symbol. We were going to have to black out the existing white marks and put blue and put a handicap sign. That's all we got to do. And so that's why that parking space was so much cheaper than the other one. I mean, I don't know how to explain it anyway.
So how many will we have total? So
You'll have 2.
So the original cost.
If we agree to pay the $22,000+ for the next, you're doing 1 in the contract,
22?
right?
$2,300.
Not 22, 2,000+.
So you said 22,000.
No, I said,
You
well, I
might have. You
misspoke.
might have.
2,000.
Counting against you there, sir.
So,
Whatever.
I'm lost.
we
I
are
gave
too.
a bid to do the one that David Melvin drew, and then I gave her a price of $5,600 to do the other 2.
Yeah,
And then I reduced that to 2,200 or something because we don't have to do the.
yeah, I don't think it's got nothing to do with your bid. It was just that we didn't know that we was adding another one. And who said add another one? That's what I think.
Do we, well, let me just
We
ask
already
this.
asked-
James,
Go ahead.
James, do we need one out there? I mean, this is the way I look at it. We have some employee,
You have one employee
or
already.
this don't occupy
we need to
one.
use it. Then if you have a.
Right, that's what I'm
customer,
saying. Okay, that's fine.
That's why Wendy said she thought they needed 3. Well, the cost was $5,600 to do 2 extra besides the first one we were gonna do. So we went back and cut that in half and.
Okay, the one. All right, can I ask you, if I stay there, on yours, how much is it for a third one, off the top of your head?
$5,600.
5,600 for 2 more.
$5,600.
What I'm asking is, for the amount of traffic, somebody should know, tell me, or should be able to tell me, maybe it's Jane, about how many people actually need that accessible. Obviously, 1 more, I got that one. But I don't want to have to come back again and say, all right, well, we're finding out that there's people and.
We'll be out there.
That's what I'm saying, I don't know. I mean, if the traffic volume don't dictate, let's just do 1.
You mean 1 extra?
1 extra, excuse me. Yeah, right, exactly. 1
Be
extra.
one or one.
Well, 1 don't be occupied, so I just don't count that as not even, I mean, that is obviously 1, but if the employee's there that the whole time that they're
Right.
working there, really isn't a parking spot. So that's why I'm asking, do we need one more, or for non-employees,
Well, in view
or
of-
do we need 2?
In view of what he said about he's got to change the ramp and everything, I can understand.
I just
why.
don't, I'm just trying to save this board
Yeah, the
something. If we
price
come and find out later that
It is for me.
the employee's occupying 1 that needs that, great. And we find out that 1 additional one is not enough, then we're back to the same issue. When you're already out there with the mechanics and all to do that, I'm thinking,
But, and I'll say this one that y'all are putting in is just for convenience of somebody, because when that building and the parking lot was designed, the number of handicap spaces that are there surpass the code.
okay. So worst case scenario, they may have to go into our facilities from a different, and, okay, so there is additional, okay. Thank you.
So,
So
I don't.
1 more addition would be enough.
Well,
along.
can I say something?
Yes.
Well, if the need in the future, years to come, indicated that there was a need for 3 or 4, would it be a lot? It would be a lot cheaper in my estimation, and you can correct me, to go on and install the units now, then come back later on and do it, would it not?
Yes and no, Dr. Fires, because the further you go from this, what I call the northwest parking spot, that entire parking lot drops pretty quick. Matter of fact, the second space that we were talking about putting in will not even come close to meeting the code. It will just.
What about the 6 that are right there?
They're on the.
They're level? There's 6
The other wall.
sparking.
Yeah, there is. There's none right there in front of the building first, so it's not that 6. But there's quite a few on the side that faces, what is that? Russell Street.
Oh, I understand. I know that, but there's 6 right there in question. When you go into community development.
He's got the drawing.
Yes.
There's 6 spaces.
All 6 of them could be done handicap and use 1 ramp.
No,
Why?
because of the slope.
So it's, okay.
The handicap,
Let me see that drawing.
well, this is just a drawing tonight.
Okay.
I mean, that's not David Melvin's drawing.
Okay. Go ahead.
But-
Well, I thought it was flat there and.
No,
if
it's
it-
not. It's sloped quite a bit to make the water
It,
run
it
away.
slopes from
And
the,
then go to the drain.
So if we add more than one additional one, then we're getting into a slope issue.
yeah.
So really, your recommendation
So he's
from a
gonna,
professional standpoint would that we just add one additional one to the one that we're already getting, correct?
And it.
and you're gonna, you move it away from the slope, is that what you're saying?
So it-
That's the highest spot, that northwest parking
Right, that
spot.
one space. Now, if we add another one, where would you put it?
It'd be right beside it.
They'll use the same ramp, one on one side, one on the other, right?
Ramp will be between the 2 parking.
The curb cut ramp. There'll be one on one side of your 5 foot that comes off your ramp. One on one side, one on the other.
He's asking where the ramp is.
I don't know.
It's in between
Well-
the 2 parking.
And, you know, cause we're talking about, are we talking about just 2 spaces?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, then what we would do is that's what I was explaining a while ago, David Melvin drew 2 access lanes. And we're going to extend the one that would be between the 2 parking lots by 7 foot, and they'll use the same ramp.
Right,
There'll only be
Right.
1 ramp for
Right.
these 2 spaces.
right.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
I'll make a motion that we accept that we just put the 2 in total.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second, a motion by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner Spires. Yes, ma'am.
You had a motion and a second on the table.
Did we?
Oh, I didn't.
Okay, whatever
Been so long
she
ago.
said then. I
Thank
know
you,
we got
thank
the
you, David.
discussion.
Thank you.
Okay, and that was to accept.
Okay.
Not through?
Yeah,
Okay.
but hey, thank you.
Yeah.
To me, it wasn't no question about the price. I was just wondering why in the world we were wanting 3 and 2 and all that stuff. Because we plan on vacating that building at some point.
Well, the state actually brought the whole subject up. Directing us.
One or-
We need
One or 2.
At least one, and it was requested we do 3, and then it dropped.
Okay, all in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, like sign. Motion carried.
To accept the change order in the amount of $2,396.
That's to add one.
To add 1 additional.
Was this approved to go to David Melvin for redesign? We did that?
No,
Or why did it go without?
I
us?
think David Melvin approved, he's the one that did the design for the ramp.
Yeah.
We
the
didn't
first
need a
one.
design to just add the second space, I guess.
Well, then why is it 2,000?
For him to do the work.
Because you have to pay David to do the drawing so you're
Yeah,
coming
so-
out cheaper. than-
Something ain't.
Pam
That's
asked
fine.
me, because Wendy said this is gonna be vacated all the time, which defeated the whole purpose. The original purpose was to give citizens a handicap space.
Right.
And so I said, we'll get a price on what it would cost to do 2 or 3. Let's see what that would be, and then we'll take that back to the board if it's reasonable. That's how we got here.
Had the time, we didn't know that there was an employee that needed
Well,
one.
there's 3 employees out there right now that need handicap ramp. There's an ARMP out there, my wife, and then the one that works for community development, and they use it fine. So you put one, that's why my question was, why do we need to spend more money when you got one ramp, they can go, go up? There's 6 places there. The slope part, I guess it slopes away from the sidewalk. It can't. But anyway, that was the question. So, anyway.
What time's our next meeting right after this one?
Yeah, we don't have, okay. So, does anybody have anything else for this meeting? If not, this one is adjourned. Let's take a break, and then we'll go right back into our special meeting.
Yeah, we need to get a picture of Foster John.
Go ahead.